On June 28, 2016, two intermodal trains were making their way through Amarillo, Texas on the Panhandle subdivision. They were a westbound and an eastbound. The westbound consisted of 5 BNSF engines on the head end, which were -944CW 5416, ES44DC 7553, ES44DC 7907, ES44C4 8191, and -944CW 5212. The eastbound train consisted of 5 engines, this time 3 on the head end and 2 DPUs. They were -944CW 5162, ES44DC 7838, and a brand new ET44C4 3967. The DPUs were ES44C4 8234 and another new ET44C4 3970. These two trains were scheduled to pass, with the westbound having priority and the eastbound pulling into a siding and waiting for the westbound to pass. Everything was going normal until this passing was supposed to occur. The eastbound cleared through the yellow signal, which meant it was supposed to decrease to a speed as 40 maximum. However, the recorders on one of the locomotives showed that no, it did not slow down. It cleared through that signal at 60 miles per hour with no signs of stopping. And then followed the yellow signal was a red signal. That red signal was cleared as well. Still going 60, which was not a good sign because now there was no room for them to clear. And somehow the eastbound crew did not notice either of these signals, and they kept going like no signals were there and there was no conflict. And the westbound did not know any of this, and so they thought everything was fine. And that was until the headlights of the eastbound came into the westbound's view. Same thing, the westbound's lights came into the eastbound's view. Both of them put the emergency brakes on. However, the train's momentum did not let them stop. And stop they did not. Those trains careened into themselves at a combined speed of 80 miles per hour. The two trains collide with unimaginable damages. While not a lot of 5416 derailed, 5162 had still lots of momentum, and lots of the intermodal started stacking up. And thus, a big fire was created from those intermodals slamming into the engines, rupturing their fuel tanks, burning engines. 3 crews were killed and 1 were injured. 5162 goes up into the air. 3967 goes under it and gets crushed and then starts burning. 5416 goes off to the side in front of 7553. Its entire car body was shredded off, and only the bogies and fuel tanks had remained. 7907 and 8191 stayed relatively intact. 5212 was hit by the intermodals and tipped over and suffered damage. 7553 got its cab crushed by a falling container from the other train. 7838 was heavily damaged. In the end, 5162, 5416, 7838, 7553, 3967, and 5212 were damaged and or burned beyond repair and were scrapped. 7907 and 8191, which were relatively intact after the collision, were transported and repaired. 8234 and 3970, the DPUs of the striking train, did not suffer much damage and were put back into service with BNSF as well. Now, what in the world could be the reason for this horrible accident? Well, it was investigated by the NTSB, and it was reported that the striking train, BNSF 5162, had not a reliable crew, and they had missed signals for them to slow down and stop. However, they passed those signals and were on a direct collision course with 5416. That mistake resulted in the death of 3 and a heavily serious injury from 1. This was mainly because sleep apnea, medications, and just disengagement from operating. And now, the accident had been done. Tons of damage, lots of fire, and one of the worst accidents in Texas.